Rain, it fell relentlessly, as if the heavens themselves were mourning. Each drop a tear, each puddle a pool of sorrow. It fell like a curtain on the sleepy town of Bexley, a place where time seemed to stand still, where the past and present intertwined in a delicate dance. Ilara tucked a strand of auburn hair behind her ear, a nervous habit from a world away. Her fingers trembled slightly, betraying the calm facade she tried to maintain. Her eyes, the color of amethysts caught beneath a summer twilight, scanned the unfamiliar surroundings. They were the eyes that had seen too much, eyes that held stories untold. Earth, so much like her home, yet so utterly different. The architecture, the people, the very air she breathed, it was all a strange blend of the familiar and the alien. The air was thick with the scent of petrichor and something else, something unfamiliar yet comforting, life. It was a scent that spoke of growth, of renewal, of endless possibilities. She adjusted the satchel slung across her shoulder, its weight a familiar comfort. It was a small anchor in this sea of uncertainty, a reminder of her purpose. Inside lay the sum of her past and the key to her future, each item carefully chosen, each one a piece of the puzzle she was here to solve. Taking a deep breath, Ilara stepped onto the cobbled street, her boots echoing in the stillness. Each step was a declaration, a promise to herself and to those who depended on her. The streetlights cast long dancing shadows, painting the quaint brick houses in hues of gold and amber. It was a scene out of a storybook, yet it was her reality now. She was a stranger here, a solitary figure in a world teeming with unknown wonders. Each face she passed was a mystery, each building a chapter waiting to be read. Fear, sharp and cold, pricked at the edges of her resolve. What if she failed? What if this world, so full of promise, turned out to be her undoing? What if her people, her planet, were depending on her and she wasn't enough? The weight of her mission pressed down on her, a constant reminder of the stakes. Pushing down the fear, Ilara straightened her spine. She couldn't afford to falter now. She had to be strong for herself and for those who believed in her. She had come too far to turn back now. Every step forward was a step closer to her goal, a step closer to fulfilling her destiny. This was her mission, her purpose. She had been chosen for a reason, and she would see it through to the end. She would find a way to belong. She had to, for in this new world under a weeping sky, she would carve out a place for herself, no matter the cost. The bell above the door chimed as Ilara entered the bookshop, the sound a gentle reminder of the world she was stepping into. The scent of old paper and leather enveloped her like a warm hug, a comforting embrace that seemed to whisper secrets of the past. It was a haven, a universe contained within four walls lined with stories waiting to be told. Each book was a portal to another world, a different time, a new adventure. She ran her fingers along the spines, their titles whispering promises of adventure and escape. The texture of the covers, some smooth, some rough, added to the sensory experience. Maybe here, amongst the tales of fictional worlds, she could find a semblance of belonging in this strange new reality. But the bookshop felt like a sanctuary, a place where she could lose herself and perhaps find herself again. Looking for something in particular? A voice startled her from her thoughts, pulling her back to the present. Ilara turned to find a young man, his features etched with a kindness that reached his warm brown eyes. His presence was calming, like a gentle breeze on a hot day. He was leaning against a ladder, a book in his hand, his smile hesitant yet genuine. It was as if he understood the weight of her unease and sought to lighten it. He exuded an aura of quiet strength, of someone comfortable in their own skin, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing within her. His confidence was reassuring, a beacon in her sea of uncertainty. "Just browsing," Ilara replied, her voice barely a whisper. She wasn't sure if he could hear her, but the words felt like a small victory. She wasn't used to speaking English, her tongue stumbling over the unfamiliar syllables. Each word felt like a hurdle, but she was determined to overcome them. Heat crept up her neck, betraying her unease. She hoped he wouldn't notice, but his kind eyes seemed to see everything. "We've got a great sci-fi section," he offered, his smile widening slightly as if sensing her discomfort. Always a good escape from reality, wouldn't you say? His words were like a lifeline, pulling her out of her shell. "Always a good escape from reality, wouldn't you say?" he repeated, his eyes twinkling with shared understanding. He gestured towards a corner of the shop where the sci-fi section awaited. It was an invitation not just to explore the books, but to connect. Ilara found herself nodding, drawn in by his easy manner and the twinkle in his eyes that spoke of shared passions. It was as if he was offering her a piece of his world, a world she was eager to discover. Maybe, just maybe, this strange new world held more than just uncertainty. Maybe it held the promise of new friendships, new beginnings, and perhaps even a sense of belonging. Maybe it held the promise of something akin to hope. And in that moment, surrounded by books and the kindness of a stranger, Ilara felt a spark of that hope ignite within her. Weeks melted into months, and the passage of time seemed to blur the lines between their worlds. Each day brought new discoveries, small moments of joy, and the occasional challenge that tested their growing bond. The initial awkwardness between Ilara and Daniel gave way to a comfortable familiarity. They found solace in each other's presence, a quiet understanding that didn't need words. Their friends noticed the change, often commenting on how they seemed to complete each other in ways that were both subtle and profound. They spent countless hours in the bookshop, lost in worlds spun from ink and imagination. The smell of old paper and the quiet rustle of pages became the backdrop to their budding romance. They would often find themselves reaching for the same book, their fingers brushing, sparking a connection that went beyond the physical. He introduced her to the comforting ritual of tea and biscuits, the steam from the mugs swirling with their shared laughter. These moments became their sanctuary, a time to unwind and share stories of their day. The simple act of brewing tea became a symbol of their growing intimacy, a ritual that grounded them amidst the chaos of life. He became her anchor, grounding her to this world that felt both alien and strangely familiar. In his arms she found a sense of belonging that she had longed for since leaving her home planet. His touch was gentle, yet it held a strength that reassured her, making her feel safe and cherished. Ilara, in turn, shared stories of her home planet, a world bathed in the light of two suns where the flora glowed with bioluminescence, and the fauna possessed a wisdom unknown on Earth. She spoke of the vibrant festivals, the music that resonated with the heartbeat of her people, and the ancient traditions that shaped their way of life. She spoke of her people, their struggles, their hopes and their fears, painting vivid pictures with her words. Her stories were filled with emotion, and as she narrated, her eyes would light up, her hands moving expressively to convey the depth of her experiences. Daniel was captivated, hanging on to every word, eager to learn more about the world that had shaped the woman he was growing to love. Daniel listened with an openness that disarmed her, his eyes reflecting the wonder in her tales. He asked questions not out of mere curiosity, but out of a genuine desire to understand her better. His attentiveness made her feel valued, and she found herself sharing more and more, revealing parts of herself that she had kept hidden for so long. Their differences, once a source of apprehension, became the threads that wove the tapestry of their unique bond. They learned to appreciate the contrasts in their backgrounds, finding strength in their diversity. Their relationship became a beautiful blend of two worlds, each enriching the other in ways they had never imagined. He loved her strength, her resilience, and the way her eyes sparkled with an inner light that seemed to illuminate even the darkest corners of his soul. Her presence brought a sense of purpose to his life, a reason to strive for something greater than himself. She, in turn, found solace in his unwavering kindness, his quick wit, and the way he made her feel seen, truly seen, for the first time since she had arrived on Earth. Their love was a testament to the power of connection, a reminder that even in a world of differences, two souls could find a way to come together and create something beautiful. One evening, as they strolled hand in hand through the park, the setting sun painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Ilara felt a familiar flutter in her abdomen. It was faint, easily dismissed as a trick of her imagination, yet it sent a jolt of fear through her. She paused, her hand instinctively going to her stomach, her breath catching in her throat. Daniel stopped beside her, his brow furrowed with concern. "Ilara, what is it?" She forced a smile, her heart pounding against her ribs. "Nothing, just a bit tired, I think." It was a lie, and they both knew it. The truth, however, was too terrifying to contemplate, too monumental to utter aloud. Not yet. Not until she understood what it meant, what it would change. That night, sleep eluded Ilara. The flutter in her abdomen had intensified, a constant reminder of the secret she carried. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. Her people, her kind, were not supposed to bear children with beings from other planets. It was unheard of, impossible even. Or so they believed. What did this mean for her? For Daniel? For their future together? The questions swirled around her, each one more daunting than the last.